As you're making your way across the terminals, you will find plenty of places to eat, duty-free shops, enough to keep you occupied if you're here for a layover. If you're like me, when you get to an airport, one of the first things you do is try to scope out the plug situation. I'm always looking for chargers. In Phoenix Airport, you won't have any trouble. Just about every seat had a charger. That's a big thing for me. Wi-Fi in the airport was free and strong. I had no trouble getting online. When I landed in Phoenix, the pilot noted that it was over 100 degrees. Inside the airport, it was noticeably chillier.
On a quiet morning in January 2024, at Phoenix's bustling Sky Harbor Airport, an American Airlines flight was preparing for its journey to New York City. The terminal buzzed with travelers sipping coffee, checking their phones, and dreaming of the Big Apple. But for 3 black passengers, this was not a routine flight. It was the start of an ordeal they could never have imagined. Imagine boarding a plane, minding your business, and suddenly being told to leave, not because of something you did, but because of how someone said you smelled. This isn't a story from decades ago or an exaggerated scene from a drama. It's real. It happened to Alvin Jackson, Emmanuel Jean Joseph, and Xavier Veal that morning. Their crime? Flying while black. What really happened on that American Airlines flight? Were these men unfairly targeted, or was the airline simply following protocol? And how did this incident spark a nationwide conversation about race, discrimination, and accountability in air travel? From the moment the accusation was made to the sweeping fallout that led to a lawsuit and public outrage, this is the untold story of the American Airlines controversy that forced a reckoning in the skies. Fasten your seatbelts. The truth is about to take off. On this day, Alvin Jackson, Emmanuel Jean Joseph, and Xavier Veal were getting ready to fly from Phoenix to New York City on American Airlines. The 3 black men didn't know each other and were sitting in different seats on the plane. Then something unusual happened. Flight attendants came up to each man separately. They told them other passengers had complained about a bad smell. The staff didn't say which passengers complained or check if there really was a smell. They just told the men they had to get off the plane. Jackson, Joseph, and Veal tried to explain their side. They said they had showered that morning and were wearing clean clothes. Other passengers sitting next to them hadn't noticed any smell. But the airline staff wouldn't listen. They made the men leave the plane in front of everyone. The 3 men had to find new flights to New York, and they missed important meetings and events they were traveling for. Later, when asked about what happened, they all shared similar stories. They described being singled out and removed from the plane without any real proof of the complaints against them. This wasn't a small issue. It affected their work schedules, cost them money for new tickets, and left them stranded at the airport. The incident quickly caught attention on social media, where people shared videos of the men being escorted off the plane. American Airlines said they were following standard procedures based on passenger complaints, but questions remained about why these 3 men, who didn't know each other and were sitting far apart, were all removed for the same reason on the same flight.
We're the only ones getting taken off the plane. Look at this.
The 3 men suing American Airlines say they didn't know each other and were not seated together, but they all found themselves in the same spot when, according to the lawsuit, an employee directed them and 5 other black men off the plane.
The video of the incident spread quickly online, showing the men being told to leave the plane. Other passengers watched as airline staff explained the complaint about body odor. Some people who saw the video supported the airline, saying they have the right to remove passengers if others complain. Others pointed out that body odor complaints have been used before to discriminate against passengers of color. The 3 men say no one on the flight, including the flight attendants, mentioned any smell before the complaint. They also say they had just showered and were dressed well for their business trip. Their lawyer says this isn't just about one flight, it's about how airlines treat black passengers and whether complaints from other passengers are handled fairly for everyone. The case has made people look more closely at airline rules. When can airlines remove passengers? Who checks if complaints are real? How do airlines make sure their decisions aren't based on bias? As more people share their own stories of being removed from flights, these questions have become part of a bigger conversation about fairness in air travel. Social media erupted with anger after videos of the incident spread online. People shared their own stories of facing discrimination on flights, with many connecting this case to a longer history of black passengers being removed from planes. The hashtags Flying While Black and Boycott American Airlines quickly spread across Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, with users calling for people to stop using the airline's services. Civil rights organizations and public figures joined the online conversation, pointing out that complaints about body odor have been historically used as a racist stereotype against black people. The story gained even more attention when other passengers on the flight came forward on social media, saying they hadn't noticed any unusual odor. American Airlines released a statement defending their actions. They said their employees were responding to multiple passenger complaints and following standard company procedures. The airline stressed that race played no role in the decision to remove the passengers from the flight. This back and forth between the airline and the public highlighted a growing debate about bias in air travel and how airlines handle passenger complaints.
3 black men from Brooklyn are accusing American Airlines of racial discrimination. They say airline employees removed them and 5 other black men from a flight from Phoenix to New York because of a complaint about body odor. CBS 2 investigative reporter Tim McNicholas has a copy of the federal lawsuit they filed today.
The lawsuit also accuses American of a pattern of discrimination. It references a 2017 NAACP travel advisory urging members not to fly with the airline, which was lifted 8 months later.
On May 2024, the 3 men took legal action against American Airlines. Their lawsuit claims they were unfairly removed from the flight and says this shows bigger problems in how airlines treat passengers. The men want the airline to take responsibility for what happened and make changes. This case joins a growing list of similar incidents across different airlines, where passengers were forced to leave flights for questionable reasons. These events have made people look more closely at how airlines make and use their rules about removing passengers. The airline industry has faced these kinds of complaints before. Black travelers have reported many times that they get singled out more often than others, whether it's being removed from flights, questioned by staff, or facing complaints from other passengers. The situation got so serious that in 2017, the NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, warned black travelers about flying with American Airlines. They did this after several black passengers said they were treated unfairly. The NAACP removed this warning in 2018 after working with the airline on changes. But cases like the 3 men from Phoenix make people wonder if these problems with airlines are really getting better.
In a statement to CBS 2 News, American Airlines said they take all discrimination claims seriously and, quote, "Our teams are currently investigating the matter as the claims do not reflect our core values or our purpose of caring for people."
Experts who study airline practices and discrimination say airlines need better training to help staff understand different cultures and avoid acting on biases. This includes teaching staff about unconscious prejudices that might affect their decisions about passengers. The American Airlines incident led to real consequences. The airline launched an investigation into the flight attendants who removed the 3 black passengers. Internal documents showed these staff members faced workplace reviews and had to attend additional training sessions. The airline also reviewed its policies about when staff can remove passengers from planes. This case shows what can happen when airlines take discrimination claims seriously. Instead of just saying sorry, American Airlines had to look at how its staff handled the situation and make changes. The investigation raised bigger questions about how airlines should respond when passengers say they faced unfair treatment. When passengers complain about other travelers, airlines have rules they must follow. But what happens when these rules might hide unfair treatment or bias? In the case of the 3 black men removed from their flight, American Airlines had to take a hard look at how its staff handled the situation. The company's investigation led to serious actions. The flight attendants involved lost their jobs. The airline said clearly that these employees did not treat passengers the way American Airlines expects them to. This decision started many conversations inside the company. Workers began asking questions about how they should handle passenger complaints, when they should remove someone from a plane, and how to make sure everyone is treated fairly. They especially focused on what to do when one passenger complains about another. The case also made American Airlines look closer at its rules, especially about complaints that aren't easy to prove, like how someone smells. These kinds of complaints can sometimes come from wrong ideas about different groups of people. Some people praised American Airlines for taking action. Others said firing a few workers wasn't enough. The whole system needed to change. As one expert who studies airlines pointed out, fixing big problems needs more than just firing people. It needs changes in how the whole company works, from training to making better rules. After American Airlines fired the flight attendants involved, the company admitted their actions weren't in line with company rules about treating passengers fairly. The decision to fire the employees got mixed reactions. Some people saw it as the right thing to do, holding staff accountable for their actions. Others thought the airline was just trying to protect itself by blaming everything on a few employees. The incident caused bigger problems inside American Airlines. Many workers started asking questions about how rules were being enforced. They wanted to know when they should remove passengers and when they shouldn't. Some wondered if they could get in trouble for making judgment calls during difficult situations. The airline promised to take a fresh look at how they handle passenger complaints. They said they would pay special attention to complaints about things like body odor, the kind of complaints that can be based on stereotypes and personal bias rather than facts. This review came after experts pointed out that firing employees doesn't fix deeper problems in how airlines treat passengers from different backgrounds. Beyond the firings, American Airlines faced pressure from multiple sides. Civil rights groups demanded changes in how the airline trains its staff. Business experts questioned whether the company's complaint system was fair. And passengers shared their own stories of similar experiences, suggesting this wasn't just a one-time problem. After months of legal proceedings, the case took a significant turn in December 2024. American Airlines reached a settlement with the three men. While the exact amount of money in the settlement remains private, the airline agreed to make several changes. As part of the settlement, American Airlines will have outside experts check how well these new changes are working every 6 months. They will also track and report any similar incidents to make sure the same problems don't happen again. Both the airline and the three men agreed to these terms, bringing the case to an end. The settlement shows how one incident led to real changes. I would love to hear your thoughts on this controversial incident. Do you believe this was a clear case of racial discrimination, or was American Airlines simply following standard procedure? Was justice truly served, or were there deeper issues left unaddressed? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. I will read every one of them, and I can't wait to see what you think. If this is your first time here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a story that challenges your perspective and keeps you questioning the world around you. And if you enjoyed this video or found it educating, give it a thumbs up to support the channel. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, stories like these remind us how far we have come and how far we still have to go.